This video contains swearing and very inappropriate imagery. Viewer discretion is advised. So it's come to my attention by a wonderful YouTuber called Zenavist, or however you pronounce his name, of what happens behind the scenes of a popular fan comic called The Beginning and the Friend. If you don't know what that is, the fan comic is an Eddsworld AU or someone's personal view on what happens after the end. Now, it may seem like a cool comic, but the creators are not at all, and this video will explain why. First, we're starting with the issue of not taking criticism and the label Deadhead. This has been an issue since their cosplaying days, since I actually used to follow them on TikTok. Well, I followed Rennie, or should I say Ken's. I had only followed for their cool cosplays and AUs with Eddsworld. This was before the comic was made. Now, at the time, I saw nothing wrong with them since I was focused on the cosplays, not knowing what was happening behind the scenes, but I'll get to that later. One time I took a step back for a moment before focusing on the cosplays again was when Ken's ended up getting mad at someone for giving makeup advice. And she said she was Ken and Tom when she is far from it, and the only time she would take makeup criticism is either a drag queen that knows what they're doing or a beauty guru. Honestly, she clearly does not know how to blend. Anyway, claiming that there was nothing wrong with and nothing to change with her cosplay and blocking the advice giver, immediately slapping them the label of Deadhead to their face. The Deadhead label I just heard of specifically because I didn't follow them on Amino before they had gotten banned. And Amino users were notified first of the label, I would assume. Now, the label is very disrespectful, not to just fans, but Ed himself. The dude died from cancer, for fuck's sake. Grow up. They've yet to take criticism, and as the crew is still using the label and is making sob stories to make them seem innocent. Next subject, disrespecting Matt. These fuckers had the audacity to disrespect Matt, one of Ed's best friends, just for asking politely to take down a graphic photo of Red Leader in the bathtub with a bunch of naked women. Now, if you're wondering how this happened, Matt had offered the crew to help make merch for the Tbatf series until he saw the inappropriate photo, then immediately called off the deal and asking for the photo to be taken down. Ken's, in a conversation, called him that fucker for snooping around their work when he wasn't supposed to. Last I checked, their account was public. Of course, he would want to see the rest of their work if he was planning to make a deal with them. Grow up, man. Like, you're grown adults. Third subject, sexualizing women and sexual assault. If you don't like the mention of rape, please skip this part of the video. There's been multiple occasions of women sexualizing and inappropriate roleplay with these guys. Although they state toward liking all women no matter the shape, size, or race, all you see in the comments are hourglass figures with big-ass tits and in very, not to be rude, but slutty outfits or a large amount of cleavage. You can't go out and say women can't sexualize other women, yet if the crew was all men, you would be talking equality and women rights all over the place. If you follow me on Instagram, you would know I once made a post with my OC June in a pair of undergarments, and I was so afraid of judgment and assumptions that I put a warning, even though it was straight up positivity, like body positivity, and I didn't have to. The difference with that and Tbatf is the fact that, one, they don't put up warnings, and two, over half the women in the series are sexualized, god damn it, as seen in these photos. Then there's a comic strip of poor Ed being mauled by a bunch of horn-dogged anime women. Obviously being uncomfortable, Ed was calling for help. Some of these storyboards proved this was non-consensual on Ed's end, yet the crew made the excuse of he secretly wanted it. This sounds like someone who doesn't believe men can be raped and all men want to be mauled by a horn-dogged woman. Now to the cosplayer assault, also known as the non-consensual roleplay, was one of those things where the characters are extremely sexualized. From the boys being complete horn dogs to the fact that in the photo shoot actually made out to be a schedule problem was really them growing distant with a cosplayer of one of the wives in their AU. I know this because they posted about it on Instagram and TikTok. I'll now read the victim's messages as to everything that had happened before the photo shoot that I just mentioned. I was greeted with all three people. It's the middle of the night, I'm sorry. Yelling and making... Okay, I'm gonna continue. All yelling and making disgusting and sexual comments about me because they were all in their kin shifts or whatever. The steampunk boys are literal horn dogs. Not a single moment passed that day where they weren't all in character. I got to meet everyone at the photo shoot, and besides Jax touching and grabbing my thigh between the table to make Allie/Ed jealous, Allie burying her face in my boobs at the end. Blech. I had a good time and it was manageable to deal with. After the photo shoot, we grew a little distant, talked less, and planned for a Texas convention that happened a little over 2 years ago now. I was incredibly nervous about taking clothes. I had never cosplayed with a group that massive before. Sorry, stressed enough. If you don't know, cons ain't easy. They ignored me the whole time. In fact, they never met up with me. Claimed to have no service and was always up in their hotel room, but thanks to a small friend I made there, we'll call her Sadie for security purposes, I learned that the steampunk group was actually down on the con floor doing a photo shoot for the whole group. That photo shoot the victim was left out of was the same one that I had mentioned before, where the group had lied and said they had scheduling problems. Fast forward an hour, and Ken's finally texted me, barely. It's hardly readable, and the rest of the crew, because they were all heavily drunk. I met them in the event room and sat down with them to watch the show happening. Allie was also very drunk and insisted on laying in my lap and grabbing and rubbing my thighs. I'll spare you the details of me having to sit there and pretend like it was okay, because I literally just wanted to feel a part of the group. The group was always drunk out of their minds and or in character, along with one of the victim's friends who had the place of Juniper, Tom's wife, being declined due to being underage and Tom's relationship being sexual, again with the sexualizing woman. After the victim had spoken to some friends she made, Ken's called her big fat liar, useless garbage, and completely blocked her of all communications. So, now... Next subject, encouraging suicide, victim playing, and fan breeding. This video says it all. Well, photo. This photo says it all. This ex-fan had gotten a message from one of the crew telling them to jump off a building for their birthday. What the fuck? Nobody should tell someone to kill themselves, especially not on their birthday. This woman is a grown adult. She is 30 years old. You heard me. A 30-year-old woman told someone to kill themselves for their birthday. Plus, how the fuck did she know it was their birthday? This is extremely skeptical and immature. Then here we are when they haven't spoken about these problems, making sob stories to make them seem innocent. This, my friends, is fan breeding, making it seem like they're all innocent angels that could do nothing wrong. They even have the people in the official Discord kissing their asses and giving them mod privileges. And of course, people believe them. It's like abuse to the truth. Whenever the victim speaks up, nobody believes them due to the mask that the abuser puts on in public when the victim is the only one knowing their true colors. Mental illness mistakes. This pisses me off. Like, big time. Me having anxiety and depression makes me mad when someone says something false about mental disorders and makes us seem evil just for having them. I know this isn't a long part like the rest, but Xenovis does a better job at explaining this part, like he said. You can't just click the first link you see and say, "Yup, this sounds right, here we go." Me talking, you can't give a character mental illness without doing proper research, especially since you can't diagnose it unless you're a specialist. This is many stories that I'm unable to get to or don't have the time for, so I'll leave the link for Zenevist's video in the description, as he's able to explain more in depth than I can. And you can read the stories yourself. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you want, and be aware of these people. They're not really the best people. And cue the outro.